Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the In News series. My name is Pooja Dwivedi. Today we are going to discuss the increasing footprint of UPI beyond our country India. Now, UPI has been integrated with PayNow of Singapore, and that will lead to seamless transactions between the two countries in terms of remittances. Now, if we talk about this segment, it will be important to put into perspective the entire topic from the perspective of GS mains paper, second as well as third, and from the perspective of preliminary examination, factual information is important. So, India's unified payment interface has been integrated with Singapore's PayNow, and it will enable faster remittances between the two countries at competitive rate. That means it will be cost effective. The Reserve Bank of India's governor has inaugurated it along with Monetary Authority of Singapore's Managing Director Ravi Menon, and this was done in the presence of the Prime Minister of India as well as the Prime Minister of Singapore. First of all, let us know what is UPI. UPI is India's mobile-based fast payment system, and it facilitates the customer to make round-the-clock payment instantly. That means the person does not have to depend upon the banks or bank working hours. And it is done with the help of virtual payment address that is created by the customer himself or herself, and it eliminates the risk of sharing bank account details, which leads to fraud. And it supports both person-to-person payment and person-to-merchant payment that we generally do at stores. And it also enables a user to send or receive money. So all these things are provided by India's UPI. UPI is a system. It powers multiple bank accounts into a single mobile application. Through your UPI address, you can download any app, integrate it with your UPI, and then you can create your own virtual payment address that could be of n number of banks. It merges several banking features such as seamless fund routing, merchant payment into one hood. And UPI is currently the biggest among the National Payment Corporation of India's operated system. The top UPI apps that have an inclusion are like PhonePe, Paytm, Google Pay, Amazon Pay, we can say, Bheem. It was launched with 21 member banks here I am talking about in the year 2016. Moving ahead, as you can see in these two graphs, the transaction through UPI has increased. Specifically, if we talk about the jump after the COVID pandemic, it has increased significantly in millions. And the real-time transaction, India stands first. If we compare it to other countries such as China, Thailand, Brazil, South Korea, this transaction is of digital nature. Moving on. Now, PayNow of Singapore is a fast payment system of course, Singapore, and it enables peer-to-peer fund transfer service. It is available to retail customers through participating banks as well as NBFCs, like we have NBFCs in India such as Bajaj Finserv. And it allows the users to send and receive instant fund from one bank or e-wallet account to another in Singapore by using just their mobile number, Singapore National Registration Identity Card, or foreign identification number, or even virtual payment address. Now, what is this linkage about? See, remittances take a lot of time to move from one country to another, and as we have many people who form the Indian diaspora in Singapore, such as students, businessmen, it becomes important that trade is done in a cost-effective manner. So this integration will be done on the basis of that only. And this is one of the boosts to development of infrastructure for cross-border payments between India and Singapore. Now, it closely aligns with India's G20's financial inclusion priorities, and that means to drive faster, cheaper and more transparent cross-border payment. As we saw, because of the sanction, countries such as Russia are paying the price of the war they have gotten into, and that is why it is important to secure our infrastructure. Now, it was decided in September 2021 that it would be done so that it can be facilitated, the payments can be facilitated at a faster rate, more efficient way and transparent cross-border transaction. No sort of black money could be sent through these digital transactions, and that relates to not only remittances but trade, travel and etc. between the two countries. Alright, moving on. Now, Singapore is among India's largest trade and investment partner in ASEAN. It accounted for 27.3% of the overall trade with ASEAN in 2021-22. Singapore is the leading source of foreign direct investment into India, and over the last 20 years, the total investment into India from Singapore has been a whopping 136.653 billion, and that accounts for nearly 23% of the total FDI. Now, if we talk about remittances, of the total inward remittances, what are remittances? Supposedly, I am working in USA and whatever I am earning, I want to send it to India. The money I am sending to India, to my relatives, parents, children, this is remittance, okay? And of the total inward remittances to India in 2020-21, the share of Singapore stood at 5.7% according to RBI's remittance survey of 2021. Moving on, there are other countries that are involved with UPI, such as Nepal. Now, NPCI International Payment Limited, which is the international arm of UPI, which is the international payment arm, we can say, of NPCI. It has collaborated with Gateway Payment Services, which is a Nepal-based authorized payment service operator, and also Bengaluru-based Manam Infotech, to ensure that integration is done in a similar manner, so that money can be transacted digitally in a seamless form. UPI will be used in Nepal as a digital public benefit to improve real-time interoperable person-to-person and merchant-to-merchant payment transactions. So not only person-to-person, but also merchant-to-merchant. That means it will boost trade as well. Moving on. Now, if we talk about USA, there has also been a recognition of this system in the USA. In 2019, it was given, a letter was sent by Google to the US Federal Reserve that it suggested that we should have, they should have similar digital transaction system based on India's model of UPI. Google also discussed the experience of launching its payment app that uses the technology in India. The collaboration further aided in driving and scaling UPI usage via Google's payment app. Now it now has more than 150 million monthly active users in India. And the reason is simple: to make instant payment, which is low cost fund transfer. That means you do not have to invest more money in sending the money, and without a need to get onboard the other payment system. So there is no need of middlemen. It will also help the Indian diaspora in Singapore, especially the migrant worker and students. Alright. NPCI internationally, what is the way forward for NPCI right now? NPCI International has previously collaborated with institutes of UAE, Japan, China. Now it will work on establishing this payment technology across borders so that cross-border remittance can take place in an instant and cost-effective manner. NPCI International also entered into an MOU with Lyra Network of France in June 2022 in order to enable accepting UPI and RuPay cards in the country. We have discussed this as well. So for today, that's it. Thank you so much for watching and stay updated.